Dr. Castleberry here with our third and final round of video discussion responses, and I'm gonna have to put the guaranteed stamp of approval on that because we're spilling over on time today, unfortunately. But I'm going to speed round the remainder of these questions and let's see what we can get out of it. Destiny has some questions with regard to the popular culture text, pop culture introductory perspectives, and Destiny asks, in your opinion, what level of, oh, here we go, high-low culture again. What level of culture, high, mid, low, is the most important to society today? And the answer is, it's a trick answer, of course. Popular culture is the most important. Maybe I should rephrase that. Popular culture is the most important. Get it? Because it's everything. It's all encompassing. It blurs and blends the high, the low, the middle. And so it's very consuming in that way. Think about these categories, right? These are areas of popular culture: sports, entertainment, politics, all merging. So popularity denotes power, right? Insert Game of Thrones joke. But it really is this game of power. And popular culture, the more persuasive, the more influential it becomes, well, the more capital it generates, right? And it's not just economic capital, so the things we buy, the things we sell, the things we trade, what we spend our money on, but it's cultural capital, what we spend our time on, the messages we pass down to the next generation. Or the ideas we share across our many social media platforms? Great question. How has the figure of women in popular culture changed? All right, I'm going to answer this question with a question. I'm not sure, fortunately, if Destiny is asking if how has the figure of women as a symbol changed, or how has the figure of women physically changed, like physical figure? I'm not sure. And so that provides me an easy out there, and a way to say it has changed and continues to change, often as a direct result of those influencing culture: magazines, social media, designers, celebrities, and so on, right? Opinion leaders, as we call them, singers, Beyonce, this term that we apply. This is like I'm about to throw out a key term here, and this is what all mega celebrities aspire to now. They don't just want to be a singer. They don't just want to be an entertainer, sports figure. They want to be a media mogul. Listen for that. You listen for that. All the people out there that want to be media moguls, because they know it's all about ultimate influence through that. You think about your LeBrons, Kim Kardashian, Mark Zuckerberg, not necessarily a media mogul, but President Obama was able to break some boundaries in terms of, he was the first sitting president to visit things like late night and daytime talk shows. Talk about your high and low culture bars, right? He was breaking those cultural bars, and that helped him in that election cycle and re-election cycle. And not only that, so to sort of one up the situation, and we see the continuation of that today through our current president. That 2016 election cycle was all about breaking boundaries in terms of self-marketing through social media, Twitter specifically. So we see that even amongst our politicians today, this combination of aspiring media personality. Elizabeth Lee, welcome to the class, has some phenomenal questions thinking about these concepts and more. Sticking with popular culture introductory perspectives, Elizabeth asks, would popular culture be as prevalent as it is today if the internet didn't exist? Well, short answer is yes. Arguably, right? Yes, but yes, it would, simply because of, I mean, we can chart the history of how popular culture was already on this steady stream of growth and momentum and what it was able to generate prior to the regularity of internet usage on a national and global scale. So I think the internet, though, is a leading force in pop culture's evolution, for sure. I mean, without question. So, do you think? Okay, relating. Chapter 1 talks about nostalgia. This is a nice keyword. There's so much. I feel like I could develop a whole course on this concept. For me, the '80s are a very nostalgic period. Do you think nostalgia influences what becomes the popular culture topic of the moment? Absolutely. Powerful tool. Nostalgia is a powerful tool. In fact, the season 1 finale, or the penultimate episode of season 1 of Mad Men, is called The Wheel. And there is a speech that ad man Don Draper gives about the power of nostalgia as a marketing tool. And it is one of the most iconic moments, in not only in that series, but really just resonates off the fictional page into our real lives. Nostalgia is just has essentially now become monetized and politicized, both. You know, you think about the Glenn Becks of the world, the Bill O'Reillys of the world. They have made fortunes cashing in on this idea of being nostalgic for a certain collection of ideas about the past, and how we need to return to X, right? We need to return to blank values. Remember when there's there's a whole season of South Park, right, where the plot device of the season were these things called member berries, right? And they're like little grapes that could talk, and they would have memory. They were all about nostalgia, and they would say like, "Remember Star Wars?" Anyway, I'm not an impressionist, so. But the member berries, highlight the fact that we have become addicted to nostalgia in this country and in popular culture. It's fascinating topic for discussion. Powerful tool. But the films we continuously recycle, even television, TV revivals now is what they're calling them. Revivals, they're not reboots because they're continuations, maybe 5, 10, 15 years after a show ended. We're bringing it back now. We're bringing back The X-Files. We're bringing back Twin Peaks. Even brand new texts like Netflix's Stranger Things, which fascinating artifact, and written a lot about this series. But this text is predicated on nostalgia. It literally plays with artifacts of the past, the '80s in particular, and revisits those texts in quasi-updated manners. So it's a nostalgia fest, and I think that is an important thing we should consider. Okay. Let me jump down. Elizabeth has a question about the cave drawings to emojis video, so I'm super excited. Everyone was watching the videos that we put up on D2L there. Denise talks about how we are constantly evolving, looking at how communication is created and how it has changed throughout history. Is technology going to eventually change or rewrite how we communicate with one another? Pause there. It already is. It already is. It has, and it will continue to. Most definitely. This is ongoing. Not only our needs, our dependencies on technology, but how these things shape, right? Even the idea itself of an emoji. In some ways, the joke is it's like we're reaching back in our communication. We've figured out so many ways to communicate that we're becoming more signs and symbol associated, just like say a primitive cave drawing or whatever. But technology is changing our communication patterns. It's changing our cognitive patterns. I used a term earlier in my talk today about I use the word asynchronous. asynchronous, we're essentially suggesting that something exists out of a chronological time order, which is how the internet operates. It's how something like Wikipedia works for you. You may not have been around when jazz was created, but you can hear it. Then you can go read about it on Wikipedia, and then it can send you to links to something older as well as something current, right? Write-ups, more music, names, and so on. This is a very asynchronous way of learning about the world, of sharing information, of educating ourselves, of practicing communication. And so the internet has already changed that for us. And also language patterns, not just codes, right? Not just ones and zeros, but the patterns, the signs and symbols we use. Okay, John Lee, welcome to the class. John asks, can Twitter be used too much by an individual? In other words, can one tweet too much? Shifty eyes, shifty eyes. All I'm going to say here is, what do you think? Can you tell? All right? You just think about it. What do you think? Too much. Is there such a thing as too much Twitter? All right. Also, a question relating to okay. Fun questions from John. John's got a real sense of humor with this question writing. I love it. Again, from the same from the Writing Well in the 21st Century book. There's a section on words. Page 7. The text mentions using a dictionary, whatever that is. Right, millennials? There are new words being added to dictionaries throughout time. Like even before we had something called a dictionary. Now, I think this is what John is suggesting. We were adding words. Language was growing, was building, was organic. So, question. Could some of these additions be offensive to the older generation due to the former meaning? Right, so he's talking about the difference, the denotative, connotative meaning, or thinking they are slang for something which are acquainted. First question, follow-up question. Have you visited urbandictionary.com? Drop that one on the table there. I think if we stew on that, we'll answer that question. And then I think also words fall in and out of fashion. And we could explore that on a number of fronts. And so this is not unlike names, right? Think about the names that don't sound like the names we use anymore, right? They sound funny to use and name babies. So anyway, running out of time. I'm gonna hit final couple of questions here. And I hate that I didn't get to all of them. Let's see. Ezel asks, since punctuation gives clarity in one's writing, can one have too many punctuations? I don't know. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Okay. Silly time. If exclamation points show expressions, are there different exclamation points that express different feelings or expressions? Rule of thumb in academic writing and professional technical writing, don't use exclamation points. Ever! You see what I did there? Since most people around the world use spreadable social media, what are the most likely pitfalls one may encounter? We will talk about this in the coming weeks and in the coming courses if you have any of our future social media or marketing courses here at MacU upcoming. Excited for that. All right, final seconds. What exactly is pop culture? Good one, Chris. That's what we will find out when we read this book right here. Bzz. I don't think one answer really works for it, and that's the point. That's part of the fun, right? Is learning to not. Learning to expand the way we think about answers and responses. All right. MTV's Real World was the start of popular culture, gained strength over the years. Can popular culture turn into our actual culture? Yes. 2016 election cycle. Think about fan conventions. Think about how sci-fi predicts the future. Think about actors, sports figures becoming societal leaders.